Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Chris Taylor, and I am the marvelous advocate of the devil. Comic book fans all across the world usually divide themselves up into two separate camps, the Marvel people and the DC folk. 90% of the time, there's very little cross-pollination between the two fandoms, but naturally, every rule has its own exceptions. On the DC side of things, just about everyone who loves the Justice League and all its various heroes and villains can still find the time to appreciate a little teenager from Queens who goes by the name of Peter Parker, or by his more well-known superhero alter ego, Spider-Man. And on the Marvel side of things, there is one superhero that the competition has that will undoubtedly go down in history as one of this planet's greatest, the Batman. No matter what side of comic fanatic you're in though, it's rarely the heroes that get all the credit. And today, we're gonna specifically talk about one, the clown prince of crime himself, the Joker. It could be Jack Nicholson's portrayal, or Heath Ledger's legendary performance, or Mark Hamill's iconic voice work. No matter who did it or when, the Joker has been the main antagonist for the Bat for as long as there has been a Dark Knight. And he's done so with a spring in his step and a smile on his face. Which is a little bit surprising since, well, he's the bad guy, isn't he? A crook, a scoundrel, a heinous human being. But here's the thing. The Joker may in fact be on the wrong side of the law, but I'd argue he isn't as bad as some may want him to seem. We can't start looking at two outwardly opposite people without first looking at the surroundings that they're in. Gotham City. A city eating itself alive with corruption and despair. It's constantly dark and gloomy looking.
That's what she said!
You've got the mob permeating through every facet of life, from the crime to the government. Then, you have Arkham Asylum. Just walking into that place will send a cold chill down to your very bones. A history of not only the insane, but the criminally so, named after a man who also went knucking futs. Before the Bruce became the Bat, he sees his parents gunned down in an alley. Don't you dare talk to me about spoilers. Even people who don't follow this character like it's some new kind of religion knows his backstory. He's afraid, he's angry, and he's rich. So he can invest all the time and money into training to take down evildoers in the city of his birth. He dresses up as a bat, since Bruce himself is afraid of bats, and he wants to use that as a symbol to strike fear into the hearts of his enemies.
Why bats, Master Wayne?
Bats frighten me. This time my enemies shared my dread.
And in so doing, creates a lot more enemies for him to fight. Let's face facts, he was pretty much asking for it. When you punch criminals in the face while simultaneously dressed up like every night is Halloween, you're bound to attract a few crazy people. So as the freaks let their flags fly, Arkham suddenly gets a whole new set of faces coming in and out the front doors. Doctors start analyzing them, trying to figure out what exactly is wrong with all these so-called crazy people. Was it really the Dark Knight that caused it all? Some deep hidden meaning behind the town, or their upbringing? Now this brings me to my second point. The Joker isn't crazy.
You're psychotic.
That is a three-syllable word for any thought too big for little minds.
If you take a look at the graphic novel Arkham Asylum, A Serious House on Serious Earth, we see Batman enter the asylum and get information on some of the inmates by a Dr. Ruth Adams. She has a startling theory about the man who laughs, and I quote, directly from the book. The Joker's a special case. Some of us feel he may be beyond treatment. In fact, we're not even sure if he can properly be defined as insane. It's quite possible we may actually be looking at some kind of super sanity here, a brilliant new modification of human perception.
And I thought my jokes were bad.
She goes on to say to the Bat himself, unlike you and I, the Joker seems to have no control over the sensory information he's receiving from the outside world. He can only cope with that chaotic barrage of input by going with the flow. That's why some days he's a mischievous clown, others a psychopathic killer. He has no personality. He creates himself each day. He sees himself as the Lord of Misrule and the world a theater of the absurd. Ladies and gentlemen of the internet court, how dare we accuse that man of being the villain? A man whose mind can't be classified as fractured, but instead as being beyond what you or I could ever comprehend. A man who may not even be himself tomorrow, or the next day, and the one after that. Hell, he may even be a model citizen capable of doing great good that nobody watching this right now could even begin. The mind of the Joker isn't evil. Not necessarily.
So what I told you was true, from a certain point of view.
The world outside is in fact quite chaotic, spiraling further down the rabbit hole with each passing moment, and that man is only doing what it takes to survive it. Chaos.
Oh, and you know the thing about chaos? It's fair.
You know, that reminds me of my last point. In a world gone mad, isn't it only natural to go mad with it? Haven't we all gone just a little crazy at some point in our lives or another? The Joker, as the name implies, tells jokes. In his mind, and in the city of Gotham, the natural order of things is insanity. How are we to know that the way his mind works, that chaos is the wrong course of action? He does what so few of us are capable of. Acts on his impulses instead of thinking things over and talking things out. Or at least not only that, he just does things.
I'm a dog chasing cars. I wouldn't know what to do with one if I caught it. You know, I just do things.
Every single one of us has done that at some point in our lives. We've said something stupid or funny in an effort to get a laugh from our friends. We've all gone into work wanting to stab our boss's head through the eye socket with a pencil.
It's gone.
And that is the true reason why the Joker can't be classified as a villain in my eyes. Because deep down, we're all the Joker. We all have a little bit of that impulse control problem. Deep down inside us all. We're just trying to survive in an insane world that seems to make up the rules as it goes along. To move forward on a planet that is doing everything it can to hold us back. Sometimes it's a big dream, like becoming the president or flying to Mars. Others, it could be as simple as just putting a smile on someone's face. But everything we do to survive. Just like the Joker. And who doesn't like smiling?
I think you and I are destined to do this forever.
There are approximately a gajillion different ways that we could defend Mr. J. He's been around for decades, and the amount of points I could bring up are staggering. However, we didn't want to make this an hour-long special, so we're gonna leave it up to you guys to bring up what we did not. Despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary, I do hope I managed to shed some light to the light-hearted, mischievous villainy of the Joker. Whether it be because the city of Gotham itself seems filled up to the brim with insanity and chaos, or just the simple fact that his mind is only reacting to a world that seems beyond his comprehension. The Joker is a man who commands attention with his every word, or potentially with every threat. And while he is on the wrong side of the law in accordance with the views and motives of the Batman and his various allies, I say it is nigh impossible to label him as such, since deep down inside, we all have a little Joker inside of us, either in acting the fool or in foolishly acting without forethought. As always, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for a new piece of my mind every Wednesday at noon. And click the link in the description below to follow us here at Devious Advocacy on Twitch, attempting to play a video game for your viewing pleasure. And lastly, and most importantly I might add, let us know in the comments below what your verdict is. Is the Clown Prince of Crime more of a court jester than a raving lunatic? Maybe I'm just trying too hard to live up to my self-given title. By all means, let your own views clash with my own, so that I may proceed to prove you wrong.
Kaboom! You've been lawyered.
But for now, in the case of the Joker, the defense rests.
We will spread across it like a virus. Do you know why?
There's nothing more contagious than laughter. My line. There's nothing more contagious than laughter.